Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I am happy to introduce you to today's guest. And although he has a long last name, I'm going to call him Dr. George. Welcome, George.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Could you please pronounce your name for everyone so that if they want to look you up, they can?
Yeah, sure. It's Dr. George Lamoureux. That's okay. Lamoureux.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
So before I get into our questions, I want to tell you about Dr. George. He helps those seeking to move to a higher level of health and well-being with the use of tonic herbs. He is a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine with a specialty in healthy aging and longevity. He is a New York State Board licensed acupuncturist and a nationally certified diplomat of oriental medicine. He's also a member of the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine and is a certified medical Qigong practitioner. Some interesting facts about him also is he's a #1 best-selling author and he lectures all over the world, and he has done a lot of conferences and has worked in the field of health with noted people such as Dr. Joseph Mercola and Donna Gates and Truth Calkins. So, Dr. George, who do you help?
Well, our primary clients are people who realize that health is not necessarily something that you just have, but it's something that you really need to work on. We really help people who are aware that they need to take full responsibility for the state of their health, and they're looking for the tools to accomplish that. These are people who understand that, you may take vitamin supplements and mineral supplements and have a really good diet, but at the end of the day, there is a certain there's a certain vibration of really vibrant health that goes beyond just those things. And certainly tonic herbs are one of the tools that can actually bring you to that higher level of health and well-being.
So the name of your company is actually Jing Herbs, and you've had that company since 2002. Is that correct?
Yes, it was incorporated in 2002. I actually didn't start doing business until 2008.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So can you give me a little bit of the background of how you came to create this company and talk about where you came up with the name of the company?
Okay.
The Jing Herbs. I find that interesting.
All right. I had actually a very long journey to getting where I am today. I started out my original profession. I was a crude oil trader on the New York Mercantile Exchange. I had a seat on the New York Mercantile Exchange. That's when I lived in New York. And a lot of people may have thought that I was really living the life that a lot of people would have been envious of. But at the same time, although I had a certain amount of success, I was also very down as far as something that was feeding my soul, something that was made me feel like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And at some point, I realized that all the money in the world is not going to bring you happiness. All the money in the world is not going to make you feel fulfilled. So I decided that I really needed to find what in Chinese medicine we call the Ming. That is, it's not your destiny, but it's sort of like what you were really meant to be doing at this present time. So I transitioned from being a Wall Street, crude oil trader. I became a professional chef. I went to the French Culinary Institute in New York and graduated from there. I became a pastry chef. And when I moved to the East Coast, I was the head pastry chef at Wolfgang Puck's restaurant in Malibu, California. And while working there, I noticed that one of the employees used to come in every day with this brown, muddy looking water, and he would drink this all day long. And one of the things that I noticed about this person was that he always had an incredible amount of energy, never sick, and always in a good mood, always had a great disposition. So I thought, you know what, maybe what he is taking has something to do with what he's manifesting. So he introduced me to an herb store, and the very first time that I took what was called a tonic, an herbal tonic, and the main ingredient in it was reishi mushroom. And within 15 minutes, I had experienced such an amazing sense of calm and peacefulness, and it was like every cell in my body all of a sudden woke up. And it was such a profound experience that although I didn't pursue acupuncture and Oriental medicine immediately, very soon I had enrolled in acupuncture school. I had left my job as a pastry chef and never looked back and just continued to do that. Now, as far as naming the company, our system of herbalism is called Three Treasures Herbalism, and it's based on three basic energetics in the body. And Jing it's like the foundational energy in the body. It's your life force. It is the energy that basically determines the length and the quality of your life for the most part. So everything else is sort of a flourishing of that energy or a manifestation of Jing. So without it, you cease, without Jing, without that life force, you basically cease to exist. So it is the foundation, and that's what I thought I would call the company. Would be Jing.
I really like that I didn't have any idea of what that meant. So tonic herbs you said that you're the person that you met. You said it was like a brown liquid. And then you mentioned that a certain...
Sorry about...
Oh, that's okay. Something's happening.
That's Los Angeles.
That this mushroom that was part of this concoction. So can you talk a little bit more about the tonic herbs? And that's TONIC. I want people to understand it's a tonic, right. Herbs, and that what types of health concerns are people using these for, and are they typically a combination? Talk a little bit more about that, because it's, to me, I don't know that I've ever really heard the term tonic herbs before.
Right. I think you're part of the vast population that has never heard of this category of herbs. And this is like 5,000 years ago. The Chinese sages who were experimenting with all of these plant substances, what they did was they divided them into different categories. Most people, when they think of herbs, they think they're like vitamins, which they are not. And most people, when they think about herbs, they think about medicinal herbs that are used to basically address disease states. That is a very Western, sort of like a Western connection to what herbs are. They almost think of them as like pharmaceutical drugs or an alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. But those medicinal herbs are only one category. And we consider medicinal herbs the lowest category of herbs, not because the herbs themselves are low, but because they treat states of health that are imbalances or disease states. That we consider the lowest energetic. All right. Then there's the second a second category, which are called harmonizing herbs. And those are the herbs that are taken if there's a slight disharmony or something that is not chronic in the body, but is more acute, that's just happened. And you can take these herbs and they basically correct the imbalance, and then you stop taking them. Then the third category are the tonic herbs. And these herbs are actually, for the most part of the culinary tradition of China. They are like superfoods, and they are consumed like food, and they're metabolized like food. Now, these are the herbs that instead of treating disease states or disharmony states, these are the herbs that are actually taken on a day-to-day basis to maintain high levels of energy, to maintain a very strong immune system, and basically to keep you in a state of health where you don't have to worry about those disease states happening. I know some people obviously are genetically predisposed for certain conditions that may be passed on to them in their family genetics. But it has been shown with the science of epigenetics that you can actually change the expression of these diseases in your body from your lifestyle choices. And certainly one of the lifestyle choices that will help you do that is the use of tonic herbs on a day-to-day basis as part of your health protocol.
So you mentioned a word that I was familiar with, and you called it superfoods. So tonic herbs fall into more of a, like you said, a day-to-day, like as if you're planning your healthy menu, you would include your tonic herbs to help you to reduce stress and age healthfully and things like that. Is that kind of accurate?
Yes, precisely. And the herbs are also divided, like I was telling you about the Jing, and so we have a 3 treasure system.
Right.
The first one being Jing. The second one is Qi. Now, Qi is the energy that your body creates on a day-to-day basis from the food that you eat and the air that you breathe. So the digestive system here plays a key role in the production of energy that you have to draw on a day-to-day basis. And again, so there are Jing tonics, there are also Qi tonics that will help maintain high energy levels on a day-to-day basis. And then the third category of herbs are called Shen tonics. And this is where it gets a little bit more esoteric as far as the kind of herbalism that we do, but ultimately what you want to affect in anybody who is on an herbal program is you certainly want to affect transformation, and you want to affect transformation to a higher vibrational level, to a higher state of health, which in turn is going to affect this on the spiritual level or the emotional level, which is certainly the highest vibration. So we sort of go from dealing on a very physical level, and as those energies transform, they transform into the higher energetics.
Wow, that's really interesting. I don't know that the average person thinks about the physical and the spiritual connection when it comes to what we put into our body. So, I don't think we think about that. So if you're working with a client, if they come to you, do you work with them in person, over the phone, online? How do you evaluate someone's needs for with something like this?
Sure. Well, since I'm trained in traditional Chinese medicine, I use the diagnostic tools that we are given to basically discern what may be the imbalance in someone's health or in someone's life. I mean, it's not always a physical thing. It may be an emotional thing that's going on too. That is causing a physical manifestation. That's the one thing about energy. It sort of, works in very mysterious ways sometimes. But one of the tools that we do give people, and if you go to www.jingherbsanalysis.com, there is a questionnaire on our website, and anyone can go there and they can fill out this questionnaire, and it will give them it'll give them a readout at the end of the questionnaire. And based on those three treasures that I was talking about, the Jing, Qi, and the Shen, all right, the questions are broken down into those categories. So you will get a feedback about how you scored on those different energetic levels. And then you have the ability to do a 15-minute phone consult. This is free, by the way, a 15-minute phone consultation with us if you want to discuss any particular issue that came up in that analysis that you took, or if you want to discuss any issue that may have not shown up in that analysis, but something that you might be dealing with that you would like to address. So we give them the opportunity to have, a personal contact with us. And that ultimately, that is the best way, because we can get a lot more information in speaking with someone than we can just by reading the results of that analysis. Although it's a pretty good place to start.
That's a great place to start. So you can go to your website and do the answer some questions and get an analysis. And then if you choose, you can talk to somebody about what the results are. I want to have you talk a little bit about some misconceptions about herbal medicine in general, because as you know, in the United States, we live in a very, I guess they call it a Western belief system, where we go to doctors and it's like the doctor prescribes a pill, and then we have surgeries because things aren't working. And then even after the surgery, we still don't feel good. And, so there are, like you said, the alternatives are, Chinese or different medicines that have been around and practiced for thousands and thousands of years. And so they're proven. And one of those misconceptions is related to the regulation of the supplements. So can you talk a little bit about how herbal supplements are regulated?
Yeah, sure. But I just want to make one comment, Tamara, about, the Western, way of looking at health. It really is sort of like from a disease state, and you don't really address things until after they're broken. We have a very preventative philosophy. We say keep you in good health or in great health, rather than trying to fix something after it's already gone wrong. But let me just say this. It is thank God for doctors. Thank God for modern medical technology. There are times when nothing else will actually do. But I like to think of what we do as not alternative, but as complementary. We should be working side by side with regular MDs, with regular physicians, with surgeons, with oncologists, to basically take into consideration the holistic aspect of someone's health and not break it down and not try to compartmentalize one organ system from another. They are all connected. And if something is going wrong in one system, it's going to be affecting the other systems in the totality of things. So I just wanted to give that perspective. We are certainly not anti-medical. Thank God they're there.
Yes.
But the misconception about our industry, especially the herbal industry, not being regulated is really it's probably promulgated by the pharmaceutical companies who would like to keep people on that pharmaceutical treadmill once they get onto it. But our industry is very regulated. We have our supplements and our herbs have to be produced in GMP compliant facilities. They are rigorously tested for authenticity to make sure that the specific herb and species that is supposed to be used in the formula or as a single herb is the one that we say that it is. It's also, they also do heavy metal testing. They test for mold. They test for bacteria. They test for everything. We get a certificate of analysis. And then what we do is we also send samples of our herbs to a third-party lab to make sure that the levels and the analysis that we are getting from the manufacturer, from our facility that's manufacturing it, is actually accurate. So we don't do it on every single batch, but we periodically will pull one at random and have it tested. And we have never had any analysis done that contradicted what we had gotten from our manufacturer. So we have very stringent, tests that we follow.
So another thing that I've heard is, the amazing results that some people get. Can you talk a little bit about that and address that issue?
Sure. I mean, a lot of people think that we are not valid as far as science goes because there aren't a lot of double-blind studies that are done on herbal formulas and individual herbs. And the reason being is that when you do a scientific study like that, you basically have to have one specific active ingredient that you are testing for. Now, the problem and what muddies the water as far as doing those kind of scientific tests on herbals and herbal formulas is that one single herb could have as many as 40 active ingredients in it. So if you do test on that, you don't know specifically which active ingredient is giving you the result that you're getting. All right. So this is something that we don't really concern ourselves with. What we concern ourselves with in what we do are the results, and the results basically speak for themselves. Now, I have just recently, we were contacted by a woman whose daughter was born with very severe physical and learning disabilities. Severe. She had feeding tubes in her body. They can only feed her through tubes. She can't eat regular food. But her quality of life was such that her mother decided that she would contact us to see if we could possibly do anything for her. And one of the things that was a concern is that her bone marrow was not producing a sufficient amount of erythrocytes, red blood cells. And her levels were at 6.8. That's very, very close to being anemic. And the only things that the doctors could offer her was to do a bone marrow transplant. Now, by the way, marrow is coincides with what we call the Jing. That's like the vital life force. And there are so many things that are produced in the marrow of the bones. And certainly red blood cells is one of them, which is critical for the oxygenation in the body. Okay, so we gave her a substance called deer antler essence. Now, deer antler is actually, it's not one of the plant herbs, it's one of the animal products. And let me just say this, because people are going to hear deer antler and they go, oh my God, they harm the animals. Deer antlers are actually harvested incredibly humanely under the auspices of a veterinarian. We only use New Zealand deer antler, which is, again, the safest. It's the only country that has never had any instance of mad cow disease or Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease ever in their country. So we know that it's pure. Now, this substance, deer antler, is one of the most regenerative substances that there is. There's even one of the active ingredients called ectosaponins. And ectosaponins, like if a starfish loses one of its legs or a salamander loses a tail, they have the ability to regenerate that tissue. That's what ectosaponin does. And that's one of the major ingredients in deer antler. So we prescribed deer antler and other tonic herbs for this young woman, and her levels went from 6.8 to 14. And that is a normal blood reading. That is a normal red blood cell reading. Her doctors were amazed, and what they said to her mother was, we don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, keep doing it. Because they were stumped. The only thing that they could have possibly done was to give this young lady a bone marrow transfer. And the herbs did that for her. Not only that, but her mother reported that she is now learning more than she was before. So those are the kind of results, and that kind of story feeds our soul. It really makes us proud of how we are blessed to be able to help people like that.
I absolutely can see how that would be wonderful, and the alternative, try deer antler or have bone marrow transplant. I would say I would try the deer antler first, because it just seems to make sense. Why do you think that? I understand that the herbs are not covered by insurance. Why is that?
Well, again, since we are such a Western medicine, society where that is our standard of care. That is the standard of care that is established. And Western medicine is very much tied in with the pharmaceutical industry. It is basically what they're taught. That's what most physicians are taught, is when you diagnose something, you take a pill. All right. So it's so ingrained in our whole society. And if you think about the size, not only of the pharmaceutical industry, but in the AMA, the medical industry in general, it is in their best interest not to want to recognize another valid complementary medicine that is not as costly as Western medicine is. And I'm talking about as far as maintaining someone's health in general. Certainly, if you have a tumor, it's probably better to have that tumor removed from the body than leave it there. But for maintaining people's health, we certainly offer a complementary paradigm. But, the vast majority of the population is very, very, very skeptical of what we do, even though This kind of medicine has been practiced for, as I said, 5,000 years. It is much older than allopathic medicine is. And it certainly has treated literally billions and billions of people successfully for that amount of time. But it's very difficult to get our message out. And the fact that it isn't covered by insurance is really, it's such a travesty, because it's a lot cheaper, and this is something that can keep people healthy a lot longer.
Everything you've been talking about is extremely eye-opening. If you are listening about, it's a cultural thing, obviously, but I'm really glad that you're here to educate all of us. Can you go ahead and repeat how people can find you and get more information?
Well, our general website is www.jingherbs.com. That's the general website. If people want to take the health analysis that we offer, that is www.jingherbsanalysis.com, jingherbsanalysis.com. And we also have a toll-free number, 877-679-5464. So anyone is, invited to contact us however they like.
Great. Well, I really appreciate you spending time with me today. And everybody, definitely go take advantage of the Jing Herbs analysis and get that information, because you could really get, benefit from learning more about your overall health. Well, I really appreciate all the time you took. Thank you.
Tamara, it was my pleasure. And by the way, if any of your listeners would like to order from us, if they put in your first name, Tamara, we will give them a 20% discount on their first order from Jing Herbs.
Wow. Well, thank you. Hey, everybody, know my name and it'll save you 20%. That's really cool. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
This is Tammy Patzer. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.